Welcome to Mystically Me. For anyone who feels different or alone, you are home. These messages are here to connect you with your own intuition, take what resonates, and trust that you know. All right. So before we get into what the cards want to tell us today, what the messages from above want to say, I know many of you listening are very sensitive. Empaths, you pick up a lot of energy from the people around you. Also, recognize you pick up a lot of energy from the technology around you. So, on my TikTok channel, which I started for not really for my old students when I just realized I wanted to teach them all the stuff they would never let me teach as a public school teacher, I decided to start that channel and taught them the other day about fluorite. So, especially if I feel like many of you are very creative and might use technology for that space, for your creativity, or yeah, I just feel like many very highly brained people that know a lot about technology, you know that all technology releases EMTs, electromagnetic fields. So fluorite is an amazing stone that kind of helps shield you from those fields. For as long as I can remember, I've had a giant piece of fluorite under my computer at work and at home, just to block the computer. You can also wear fluorite and it'll help create like a shield over around your body. And this just kind of stops you from taking on more than you already take on. It's not going to stop all the energies, but it'll at least give you a little bit of space from the ones coming out of technology, because we've just been so bombarded now for so long that I don't think many of us realize just the effect that these devices have on us. If you're someone who gets out into the nature and goes camping, you probably notice if you get away from the devices. But even now, like I know where I go sometimes, we have Wi-Fi, so it's not like the devices are gone, they're still there. Anyway, thank you for being here today. And let's just jump into what the cards have to say. But like I said, fluorite, check it out. I love the green fluorite, but it comes in lots of different colors. You can wear it in jewelry, just put it around spaces. Yeah, so fluorite. I will put in the description of this video, I'll put the spelling of it, just if anyone needs it. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the inner child cards today, because of course, like I've said before, I feel for so many of us, a lot of the challenges we're facing in our current life stem from things that happen in our childhood. Just because, we tend to recreate situations that we need to heal from. And they look very different as we go throughout life, but, you know, all of us have a little kid in there at some age that didn't get exactly what they needed at that time and are feeling pretty sad about it. So here we go. Let's see. Ooh. These are a bigger deck of cards, if that makes sense, like very large size. So sometimes a little wily when I'm trying to one. Whoa, okay. Well, sometimes the cards just jump right out of the deck, and that's exactly what happened now. So we've got uh, two major arcana cards, 3 and 4. Boy, interesting. So we've got Mother Goose, and which is 3, and that connects to, for those of you that know traditional tarot cards, that would connect to the Empress card. And then we've got the Emperor's New Clothes, number 4, which connects to the Emperor in the traditional tarot deck. So definitely some masculine, feminine energy going on here. Maybe, I mean, this can look all sorts of ways too. Don't always just think, I know a lot of us love to think and just jump to romance, but there's within all of us divine, masculine and feminine, and it's like a balance, even from like the right and left sides of our body. Feminine's more passive, masculine's more action, and really you need a balance in your life to and those are very simple descriptions for those of you already into this kind of stuff. So please, I'm not trying to diminish either one, just moving along here with the reading. And then the third one is the Six of Crystals. So, I mean, let's see, that the Six of Crystals is all about hard work. There's these little gnomes climbing up a mountain, a very tall mountain. It kind of looks like Mount Everest. And there's a giant snowflake at the top of the mountain. So always, when we see something like this connects to the pentacles. So there's going to be work here, and teamwork, community, working towards something. And honestly, with the major arcana cards coming in, that's usually a sign of pretty big changes going on. So I feel like to some of you I'm speaking to. Remember, if the message feels like it resonates, it's for you. If not, just leave it, because that's there for someone else. Messages come through for a lot of different people, a lot of different spaces. So let's see, give me 1 second here to connect. So, because I feel that there are both male and female listeners here, and it does not matter what your physical body is, you can connect with either energy, both energies. Sometimes they're within you. Sometimes this might be a specific male or female in your life. Um, someone right now, um, people right now are really coming into like the higher parts of themselves, if that makes sense, like the more divine or masculine or divine parts of their feminine or masculine. And this could be something like honoring either one of those. So honoring the feminine part of you, understanding it's okay to be soft, to show emotions, to let someone help you. Just the softer side. Some people out there have really, just done it all for themselves for such a long time. It's really hard to let someone in. And it's not a sign of weakness. Just realize it's okay to soften. Like, you don't have to hold it all right now. Someone's guides are saying, just let the load off your shoulders. Like, just let it go. Again, this came up in another video. So I don't know if this is for the same person, group of people, or someone else, but I just feel someone's shoulders are so tight and clenched up into their ears, and just like take a deep breath and bring those shoulders down consciously right now, because bring them down. Bow down and back, because wow, I just feel so much tension for someone in their neck right now. Okay. Now, an interesting twist on these cards, obviously, because they're not just like the traditional tarot, is the Emperor's New Clothes. So if you're familiar with that for card number 4, it's a pretty interesting story about someone who's kind of being blind to what's happening. I do want to go to the exact description of this card, because I just want to say it in the correct way. All right. Let me see here. Yeah, well, really, it starts off with what I was saying before, is that it's a balance of these two things. The component within is each that really allows the Emperor to be who he's supposed to be. He needs to accept and understand the power of the Empress. So interesting for what's happening in our world for women these days. So what it is, the card says, it's always the mother goose. So that's number 3, the Empress, who brings balance and peace and beauty to the Emperor on his throne, who is represents the power of the material world and the resources accumulated. So if the Emperor becomes greedy and unaware, he becomes super self-centered, and that's how he ends up, basically naked running around town, because he just won't, it's a primary example of foolhardiness. He's lost touch with reality. And on a global scale, I'm not going to go there, but okay, this is definitely something that's playing out on a bigger level. So for this reading right now, I really feel I'm speaking to someone out there, or people out there. You've got some self-destructive tendencies, and some self-sabotage. And there's definitely no judgment. Everyone does it. It's really hard not to. But for you to move to the next level where you're supposed to be, because I feel like even that there's something out there that you have access to or about to in your life, but even you're not going to be able to sustain it or even connect to it fully with something going on right now. It could just be a relationship that you need to let go of, a bad habit. It could be something as just negative thinking, always thinking bad about yourself or predicting the worst to happen. These things aren't easy, but there are tools. That's part of the purpose of this channel, I feel. These videos is to help you understand that, I feel that tools like oracle cards and tarot, they can help you like reframe your thinking and get out of mindsets like that, because every time I've ever connected with my higher guidance or the cards, I've felt nothing but hope. Even when, if you listen to the last video, it was kind of just card after card that aren't, I mean, honestly, you were there if you listened. I was like, oh, these are kind of negative. But at the end of the day, I mean, negative, positive, everything comes in as an experience, and it is not easy to do by any means. And if you hear that in the background, that is my ice. Sorry, I need to take a drink. Always got to have ice in my water. I'd love to know if you are someone who needs lots of ice in your water, or if you like water room temperature, because very impressed with you room temperatures. I just can't do it. Anyway, back to this. Oops, there goes my ADHD brain. Okay. Yeah, so just get real with yourself for a minute. It's okay, you can do it. And whatever's blocking you from like being the next best version of yourself and bringing something really awesome into your life, whether that's a new job, new friends, new place to live. I mean, who knows? A new pair of shoes. It can be something small. Just a new thought process where you don't put yourself down. One thing, I honestly can't remember where I read it right now, but I try to do this if I have a negative thought to myself, or, we're all human. If I have a negative thought towards another person, I try to, as quickly as I like get out of my feelings and, can just be more reasonable, because sometimes I can be a little unreasonable. I go cancel, 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 clear, clear, clear. I don't say it out loud always. Sometimes I say it in my head, just to help that energy that I've sent out there, whether to someone else or to myself, if it's not the most positive, to clear away, because I don't want to put any more negative thoughts out there. Also, at some point, everyone has to kind of accept and realize your thoughts do create your reality. I know if you are one of my past students and listening to this is an extremely difficult concept for a lot of adults to accept, understand. So don't it's okay. Just, you heard it. But what you focus on is really what happens. So try to, especially for yourself, because so many of us out there are so hard on ourselves. Like, our inner dialogue is so mean. I mean, I think about the way that I think and talk sometimes to myself, and I wouldn't even say that to anyone. Especially, I used to think as a teacher, would I ever be okay with a student saying or thinking that to themselves? And I wouldn't. So why would I to myself? Which has helped me release a lot of that thinking. So that's why I am where I am now and not back there. Okay. So let's see. Oh yeah, the Six of Crystals. So honestly, what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing, is, what you have to do. It's happening because you have become a better version, or a more evolved version. I don't want to say better, because, in each moment of our lives, I do feel we are doing the best that we can. I mean, it is not easy out there, and you make decisions based off, emotions, the moment, your past, what you've lived through. So, we just need to be a little nicer to ourselves. So you have already done the hard work, are doing the hard work, or know that you're about to have to do it. And that is bringing, or is about to bring, something amazing into your life. But it's just asking you to get on top of any of those like self-destructive tendencies, or just, if things are about to be super awesome, try to remain humble. And yeah, don't get too foolish with what's going to happen. Okay, let's just see. I wanted to check out the Six of Crystals to see if there was anything else. For those of you that are into the numbers of it all, Six of Crystals, the six-pointed star or hexagram is called a bunch of different things: the flower of Aphrodite, the Star of David, the seal of Solomon. And in Pythagoras, there we go, his mathematics, the number 6 is considered the only perfect number between 1 and 10. And it symbolizes divine wisdom, harmony, equilibrium, and the balance between feminine and masculine dimensions of the consciousness. So there it is. That's where that comes in. And like I said before, group work, because this is the thing. There's success here. It is happening. It's happened. It's on the horizon. Maybe you're accepting that teamwork's a part of it. You're not always meant to work alone. That's not always easy for people to understand. Especially, I feel many people who will be watching this, who are watching, and thank you if you are, you know, you're sensitive, starseed, just you're someone who's always felt a little bit more, and you know that there's more to this life than what we can just see. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be here because we're going to get into a lot of that. So, I just want to say congratulations and like way to go on whatever you are doing or have done for your life. You've got to celebrate all of the small wins, like every little step. It is not easy to change, especially if you're an adult, because you get set in your ways. So, yay. Really nice. Also, we're going to move on right now to I finally got my original sacred geometry deck that I used forever and ever that I couldn't find. I ordered it, and then all of a sudden it was supposed to be here before the last video, and then I get a message and it's all, oh no, that order's been canceled in transit. So I was like, oh, okay. So I reorder it, and now here they are. What I like, I believe me, the second installment of this deck, or I don't know if that's the right word, like the follow-up deck, which I've used in the previous readings, is beautiful too. But most of these cards are more just like a simple one design. And I think that's the best way to introduce sacred geometry. Just because I felt like once I became aware of this a long time ago in my early 20s, that I was like, oh, this is so cool. And it made me like geometry because as a kid, I did not like it in school. I was like, oh, why don't they teach this in school? Which is a lot of the reason I started my TikTok. Just because, yeah, this stuff's cool. And I felt like learning about all these different things, this higher perspective, higher wisdom, spiritual knowledge, metaphysical stuff, whatever you want to call it, over the, many years I've done it has just helped me feel a deeper connection to the universe, to all that is, to myself. And that has helped me through some really difficult life experiences that otherwise I'm not sure, I would be where I am right now because, we're not going to get into all of it, but I know everyone out there has gone through something, everyone's got stuff. These are not easy times. And, just realizing that you are getting through it, you've gotten through it, that you're not alone in it it was everything for me. So that's a big reason why I started this, to help anyone who just needs that in their life. Like knowing, well, first off, you're worthy, you're enough just the way you are, and that there's so much more than what's right there in front of us. So, okay, let's see what else needs to come through with these cards. I'm so excited. They're very beautiful. Okay. I'm going to just take a second to feel in. I know that I'm recording this, so you're like, well, I'm not watching it at the same time, but energy is energy. So the more I can connect with anyone's energy, if you're seeking more specific messages for you, that helps. That helps my guides and like my higher self know it's okay to connect with yours to receive these messages. And then sometimes for those of you watching at any time, because you realize time is just kind of a construct, but we'll get into that. That's a little bit deeper. That the messages are timeless. Whenever you hear this, if it's 5 years from now, there's a reason why. And there's something in it for you. So, see, that's one of those things I've learned through all these tools over the years that was just so cool and exciting, and just helps me feel just so much better and not alone. All right, here we go. Actually, I'm going to take another drink of water. I got really excited there. Hopefully you get excited. And please, if you have any questions, ask them. I've been a teacher most of my life. There are no bad questions. Just go ahead and ask them. And then I can help you get some, just help you find the resources for what you're wanting to learn more about. Anything. I don't want you to feel like it's not something you can do. Like I felt when I first got introduced to tarot and oracle cards, there were a lot of people that made me feel like, oh, you can't read your own cards for yourself. And believe me, over the years, I've realized definitely in certain situations where I have way too much of an attachment on the outcome, I can't do readings for myself. Because, you can make anything into what you want it to be. So I definitely noticed that. You couldn't have told me that back then. I knew everything, I thought. So now, I want this to be accessible. I don't want people to think, oh, I have to go somewhere for this. Now, don't get me wrong. Reaching out and being, even if you do readings like this, going and having a reading done can be an amazing experience because it just helps it helps. Again, everyone sometimes needs a little confirmation that they're on the right track, no matter how connected you are, I feel. I mean, eventually, at one point, I don't know if people will really need it. But it just helps along the way, especially when you're getting new into all this. It can seem overwhelming and like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that. And it helps to have someone who can be there to give you a little guidance or just share, what's worked for them. So I do not claim to be an expert in anything. I just have been so guided to completely change my entire life and bring these messages to the world because there's just people, I feel like there are those of you listening who just feel like no one understands and that there's something wrong with you, and there's not. And there are a lot of people. I hope this becomes a community, a space for so many of us to connect and talk and share what's worked for us and what hasn't, and just bring together soul tribes of people that need to connect right now. Okay. Whew. Just taking a deep breath to connect. I get really excited and sometimes talk too fast, so I'm working on that. Okay. So I don't know if you've noticed, I tend to do things in three a lot. One of these videos will talk about Nikola Tesla and Nikola. I can't believe I'm blanking on that right now. But anyway, the magic of 3, 6, and 9, the numbers. A lot of the spiritual practices or type ritual things I do for myself are based on a 3, 6, 9. Anytime I put affirmations in the videos, or I have an Instagram, Mystically Free 888, a little bit different, where I do a daily affirmation, I tend to write those 3 times and speak those 3 times. So, yeah, 3, 6, 9. There's a connection. Okay, so the cards that came up are, first we got 9, which is Echoes of One, and there's a Vesica Pisces on that card. Actually, it's like a mirrored, well, it's not a mirrored version, but there's Vesica Pisces at the top and bottom, and there is a couple in the middle, and the female is in the upper triangle, and the male is in the lower. And then the third card we got, second card, sorry, is the 10th card and it's a triangle. And it's actually got a triangle and a Vesica Pisces. And if you listen to the last video, actually, I believe it was the first video, I talked about a Vesica Pisces as being one of my favorite sacred geometry symbols. So interesting, it's shown on 2 cards. Guess we need to talk about it again. And then the third card is the number 50, and that's the octahedron. So the Vesica Pisces kind of symbolizes, it's 2 circles that interlock in the middle. And in symbolism, it's one, you take the 1 and the 1, and you get 3. So it's a greater whole. Like when 2 come together for something, what they create is greater than the sum of its parts, if that makes sense. So yes, actually in math, 1 + 1 is 2. But that is why I loved sacred geometry so much when I found it, because I was like, oh yes, I love this, because in this 1 + 1 is 3. And to me, I was like, yes, haha, math, I got you. I don't know why I thought that then, just because sometimes math, I guess I've always loved philosophy more, because there's no specific answer for a lot of those questions. And with math, there's, usually one correct answer. And I guess thinking about that now, I just get this download that, I had a student ask me once what religion I thought was right. And, as a public school teacher, I couldn't get into this whole religion conversation or spirituality, or that religion is, a lot of control for people, and the messages that have come from the divine, they claim, have definitely been distorted, but we're not going to get into all that right now. But I was just like, well, I just kind of, what if they all are right? I'm not here to tell anyone they're right or wrong about what they believe. All I hope is that people will connect with their own self, anything that they've learned or grown up with, like really just feel inside, is this what's meant for me? Is this what I feel and believe? Because, sometimes it isn't, and it's not always easy to get out of some situations, but, I've been lucky enough to be in a situation to choose that I'm going to be able to live like that. And I know not everyone is in situations like that. So um, please just try to listen to the little voice within and realize you're never alone. Okay. So when it comes to the Echoes of One, that card's all about the greater whole. And like I've said throughout these videos, I feel this is a huge time where people are, wanting to connect with like themselves as a greater whole, but also with a community of like-minded people as a greater whole, just like a soul tribe. Not that you might not have amazing people in your life, but sometimes it just feels like, you're an alien, or you're like, what? How am I even? What is happening? I feel so different than these people. And it can be really, disheartening and depressing, thinking, oh my gosh, is there anyone out there who's ever going to understand me just for me? But I promise you, there are, weirdos unite, or whatever it is. Yeah. So, and it's just, this card is interesting enough, regardless of how old this deck is, and also kind of what we're seeing on the planet. Things are moving to a higher consciousness in some ways. We just have to, like, we have seen what happens, the division that can be created, and that's just not working for anyone, is it? So things are going to have to change. It's kind of what happens. So, everyone just, okay, I'm going to just kind of leave that where that is, because I feel like anyone here, you understand that you feel a change is coming. You know that something needs to change. You understand things aren't working. Also, I feel many of you feel called to a bigger purpose, a higher mission. And that's a lot of what's led you here. So all the guidance from your higher self, from the divine, whatever you want to say, that's been wanting to reach you will be able to get to you more clearly now. And then you'll find ways and be able to connect more with yourself, which, at the end of the day, everyone will just feel so much happier. So, all right. So the triangle, Trinity, like I've said, it can be, lots of things come in threes. There's mother, father, child, beginning, middle, end. 3 is a number throughout, life. They kind of say you have your youth, your middle age, and then your old age. And this really connects with inner child cards. You are finding a new path. You are on a new source of something in your life, new relationship, new job, new level of understanding of who you really are. It could be actual movement to a new city, a new country, a new workout routine. Who knows? Maybe you just found you love dancing and you're doing it all the time, or you got asked to go try something you never thought you would ever do. You gave it a shot and discovered you love it. I'm feeling right now, please say yes to whatever's coming up. Whatever offer you got that you like, your nose crinkled, I feel like you're like, what? No, this is not me. Just try it. I don't know if this is just a specific message for one person, but it downloaded pretty quick. Just try it. Say yes. You're going to love it. It's going to be so much fun. You have no idea who might come into your life by saying yes to something that you were like, no. All right. And then, so card 50 is our octahedron. I love 8, the 8 aspect of it because of my love of 8s. Interesting. So sorry, I had to look this card up. Like I said, I haven't had this deck for a minute, and I know what it's, the 8 triangular faces of one of the Platonic solids. If you are really into geometry or sacred geometry, you've been like, ooh, this sounds amazing. You should look at the Platonic solids. So just look those up. We'll get into it another time. So the one word meaning for this card is child. And literally we were just talking about the triangle and the Trinity and that how, you are birthing something new. It might not be an actual literal child. I don't feel like it is for most of you. But starting a new job, starting a new relationship, all of these things, maybe a new hobby, a new idea, something you might started writing poetry and you're like, oh, I love this. Or maybe you started creating art in a different way and you have been really drawn to that. I don't know. Just you're birthing something new into your life. It just might be a new version of yourself. And it's beautiful. And you have so much more support than you realize. But some of what's going on, like either you've been putting in a lot of hard work or you're about to really start a lot of hard work, remember to honor your inner child, which is why a lot of some of the reason these videos are being made and started is just knowing that inner children need to be listened to. I think that's what creates so many angry, grumpy adults, are the little inner children coming through who didn't get what they wanted or needed. So remember, the child in you, the child you were, that was a perfect being. And whatever happened in your life, please find a way to play. And I think this has come up in another video, so it's a continuing theme. And I feel it's for a lot of you out there. I mean, even if you are still a child or in the ages considered a child, I worked with children for many years, and many of them are very serious and hard on themselves and don't even act like a child when they are a child. So, remember to be silly. Play. I love Moodang. She is an adorable hippo from Thailand. If you've never heard of her, check her out. And used to talk about her on a daily basis in my classroom since she came into my world. I'm literally going to start. I did Moodang Monday for my TikTok channel for the followers there, which are most of my students. Mostly, I feel like my students. So that's why I say it like that. And I'm going to start that as a continued theme because I was like, oh my gosh, I need to talk about Moodang, and I'm not going to be talking about her every day. So yeah, there you go. So if you were like, oh, I'm really weird, you are in great company, obviously. So you're in the right space because hey, welcome. So just keep going. Realize that, yes, there are other people. Like, I am so hoping that this becomes a space for, anyone who just wants to not feel alone and feel enough, because you are, and you've got so many gifts and talents. If you don't see it yet, I'm sure there are people in your life that do, or will soon. It might be that you just need to let those talents out or actually show them to somebody. People can't know what you can do if you aren't actually showing anybody yet. All right. I'm going to grab the What the Vibes card just because I do feel these do have the vernacular, it's the language for this. I might have not used the correct word there. For the space, I know that a lot of younger star seeds are going to be called into this. Again, I can get into that another time, but there are those of you feel connected to so much more than what's just here shown on this earth, and so much more connected to the earth than many other people. And you feel things a lot deeper and you think about things a lot more than others. So I'm glad you're here. You are in the right space. Okay. Here we go. Let me also take a drink of water. Kind of a little reset for this. Sorry for all the clanking, a little reset for this part. Okay. Okay, so interesting enough, I pulled 4 cards on these. So what that's telling me is I need to pull 2 more because it's not done yet because it's down to 3, 6, or 9. Um, okay. Oh, whoop, that one just fell almost on the floor. Okay, here we go. So the cards that came up are stuck, overextended, confused, uh, and it's so funny. This card has someone pouring tea and it just says sipping at the top. So, like rumors, gossip, nosy, and just feeling kind of down, hopeless. Uh, but then the other card, the last card, was today. So, what my guides are telling me, what I'm feeling is for a group of you listening, for someone listening, you are really coming out of a time that was not so great. You were feeling very stuck. You didn't feel like you had any options. You did feel hopeless. It's kind of where we were in that other reading when all those cards were coming out, and I was like, oh my goodness, you were in that kind of space in that moment. And I don't know if there were rumors going around about you, or you might have been participating in some rumors, being gossipy or trying to be nosy. Maybe you realized that's just not who you are, and you're kind of buying into this. I mean, if you live in the United States, at least anyway, so many of the TV shows are all about this kind of stuff. Like people want to spill the tea and be gossipy. And, it is very easy to fall in and participate. But, for some of you, you've always felt kind of like icky deep inside when you did it. It's not who you really are. Maybe you've actually maybe been able to break away from that, like release the toxic people you're around, just release the toxicness in yourself, release the not parts of you, like the not self you that you just picked up living life along the way to survive. And you kind of got to a really confused point, but then this card today says today. Good vibes now in the moment. I feel in this moment like the sun has come out and you are feeling like a lightness, like a weight has been lifted off your chest because you have stepped into a new place, a new way of being. And like I was saying before, something's shifted for you because of all this hard work and confusion. Oftentimes they call it like the depression, that dark night of the soul. It gets really hard. And then, the sun breaks and it's dawn of a new day and you realize, oh yeah, all it took was just, that little bit of change in myself and all these wonderful things unlock, and open up. So, oh goodness, because last time I was worried and I feel like I even cut the reading a little short because I just didn't want to keep focusing on those cards. And that was an error on my part, I think, because this is the thing. You just kind of, things happen. And I know some people have really intense life experiences they're going through right now. And, I hope this space or any of these messages have been able to provide a little bit of comfort or connection to your higher self, or just knowing that you are not alone. We all have so many, this is my belief, of course, so many angels and guides. I know some people like to believe of them as their ancestors. I was adopted, so and really have no connection to adoptive family, and things happen there. So I have no connection with any birth family or any ancestry on earth, which I believe is another reason that caused me to seek out these spiritual learnings, metaphysical teachings, practices, my star family, my star family's lineage, whatever you want to call it, just so I could feel connected to more, because for so much of my life I didn't feel connected. I felt alone and sad, and that there was something wrong with me, and that I didn't belong here on this planet. And that's why I've started this whole thing, just because I do not want anyone out there to feel that way. So I feel like this is a great place to end. Realize you have entered a beautiful phase of your life. Saying yes to yourself has opened up more than you could ever know. So again, I'd love to connect deeper, know how, if any of this message connected with you, please leave a message. Of course, if you don't want to leave a message, that's okay. Just thank you for being here and watching. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.